What was the first post-punk album? Now this might be more of a difficult question than you realise, because not only are we trying to figure out what is the first album to capture the post-punk sound, but also what is late enough in the timeline to be classed as post-punk. First of all, to get post-punk, we need punk, and as much as a lot of people like say the spirit of punk and the roots are a lot earlier, I think it's fairly safe to say the staple first punk band and the first punk album was Ramones and their self-titled album in 1976. So we know it can't be any earlier than that, but what is the earliest it can be? Now from anything I've ever listened to or heard of, I've never found anything from 1976 that I would class as post-punk. But 1977, things change. Not only by 77 had the punk sound crossed the Atlantic to the UK with bands like the Sex Pistols and the Clash, but the sound had already begun to evolve, and that is where Wire come in. In November of 1977, Wire released their debut album Pink Flag, and this, many consider to be the first post-punk album. It captures the sound, it's an evolved version of punk, it has more experimentation, it explores more different avenues, there's more to it, it doesn't stick to that. As much as punk and pop were seen as very separate, structurally and in terms of content, there was actually a lot of similarities. Wire were one of the first bands to change this. However, as much as many sources credit Wire with being the first post-punk band, I don't think we're looking on the right side of the pond. Because in February of 1977, earlier in the year, Television released Marquee Moon. And for me, and I'm sure many others, this is the day one post-punk album. This is the very first. Television were the first to do it. Incredibly influential on the rest of the post-punk movement and music beyond. So many bands credit them. Echo and the Bunnymen, of course. However, they were massively influential on all of music, and it's especially because of this album in particular. Marquee Moon breaks out of the shackles of the limitations that punk had created for itself. I mean, the kind of short structure, catchy, hooky songs. I mean, the title track on this album, Marquee Moon, is over 10 minutes long. People would have seen that as like a prog rock thing to do. This was a complete left field decision in this album. It's so experimental, it explores so much different sound within it that is different to anything people had heard before at the time. But it created the formula for something new that went on to become what we know as post-punk. If you've not checked out this album before, 100% do it. I know a lot of you will have, so let's have a chat about it. I will be replying. And what do you think?